How are we doing, everyone? It is Friday. My goodness, I'm so pleased that we've come to the end of another amazing week. As before, those Kickstarters that we've looked at, Blade Runner, etc., are doing incredibly well. If you're excited about those, and if you're excited about the two projects that we're going to be talking about this evening, then please let us know. Please hit like, please subscribe. If you're watching us live, then please let us know in the comments what you think of today's projects. I'm really intrigued by them, and it's it's an interesting one. That first one about effectively doing an inception into a role-playing game. Let's talk about it, shall we? So, with Devious Dungeons, Foreboding Forests, and the Coolest Cat, my name's Phil, and welcome to the Dark Orb. Hey, as I said, welcome, happy Friday if you're watching this on the day of release. It's a really exciting time. We've got a couple of weeks until UK Games Expo, and hopefully I'm going to see some of you there. If you are there, then please say hello, and hopefully I'll recognise you. You'll recognise me, I'm sure, because this hat goes everywhere with me. We've got a couple of really cool projects to talk about today, and I'm really looking forward to both of them, actually. The first one, by Rowan, Rook, and Decard, technically, is it's based on a graphic novel that I've not read. I think the first issue of the comic is actually available for free, so you can have a look and see what you think of it. The artwork is stunning, and the concept is really sound, very, very meta. I think that's really awesome. The second project is already an award winner in Italy. How? Well, it was released in Italy 2018, 2019. It won some awards in Italy in 2019. It's by Two Little Mice, who subsequently, or probably a couple of years ago as well, so probably around that time actually that game came out, they in English brought us Broken Compass, and that's now had its kind of second release. I've played it, I've run it rather, and it's great fun. So Two Little Mice, of course, then most recently have been acquired by Call Mini or Not, CMON, and Francesco Neptello's joined them. So he's an amazing talent who obviously has worked on things like The One Ring, and he's gone over there. So we'll talk about that when we get there. But first of all, shall we talk about Die RPG? Let me know what you guys think about all this, by the way. If you're watching live, please let me know. Hit me up in the comments. Let's talk about Die RPG. So it's by Rowan, Rook, and Decard. They're publishing it, and they are renowned for putting out beautiful, beautiful, really fun things. I'd love to show you my limited edition copy of Heart, for example. I've only got the standard edition of Spire, but I've got the limited edition copy of Heart, and it is beautiful. So when you're looking at the quality of their products, second to none. They use the same print house that they'll be using the same print house that they also used for Sin and for Heart, etc. And my God, they just managed to make things pop. In terms of game design, though, what's a little bit different is, rather than this being, from what I can gather, a game that has been created by Grant Howard and the others in that team, Chris, whose name eludes me, we'll have a look when we get to the page. Rather than them designing the game and bringing an artist in for the artwork and doing all of that, actually what they've done is they've been engaged with Kieron Gillen, who you may know as one of the kind of foremost British authors in American comics right now. He's done loads of really cool stuff with lots of franchises that we all know. And he had this idea, and some of this information is in the video, which you can see at the top of the Kickstarter campaign. But I'm not going to play that today. He had this idea that he wanted to do something about role-playing games because he really likes role-playing games, and then realized that actually it needs to be a role-playing game about role-playing games. How cool is that? Very cool. I'm not sure how good I'm going to be at delivering that at the table. It's we're looking at massive amounts of Inception, right? but I think it would be really interesting to find out. And also, the product is going to be beautiful. Whether you get it at PDF level, the standard edition, the limited edition, it's just stunning. The artwork has all been done by the one person, which is what they tend to do. So if you look at Heart or Spire, they have the same artist that they use throughout the book. And they've got Stephanie Hans to do the art for this book. She is a renowned comic book cover artist. So those splashy covers you see on comic books, just stunning. Hey, we've got a couple of people live, so great to see you, Sanjuro. Good evening to you. I should also mention that Sanjuro is one of our patrons, and we will most likely be doing an after party over on Twitch later on. So that's at twitch.tv/The Dark Orb UK. So if you would like to join us, just head on over there, and hopefully we'll see some of our patrons there. So we may see Sanjuro there, we may see others. It varies every time. Neil says, the graphic novel is excellent. Hi, Neil. Great to see you. Great story, amazing art, full of role-playing in-jokes. I recommend it. And Yoel says he's not officially here. I'm not officially here either. I did mention the after party, so let me just get that. Oh, they've made some changes to my software and I hadn't picked that up. There we go. Right, so if you'd like to join us at the after party, then there's the link down below. Meanwhile, he says, trying to get back to close the comments, shall we have a look at the Kickstarter campaign for Die RPG? I think we should. So bear with me just 1 second, because I'm not as organized today as I usually am. And let's take a look. Also, by the way, those of you watching live, let me know how my audio is. I'm using a different microphone. Hopefully it's fine. But it's kind of hard to EQ with the software I use. So let me know. Right. Let's have a look at Die RPG. So you can see straight off the splash of color there, right? You and your friends are dragged into a treacherous fantasy world made from your own fears, doubts, and desires. There's only one way to escape, but with limitless adventure within your grasp, would you even want to? How many times have we been playing a role-playing game, or just round your mate's house, and you've had a couple, even at the pub, whatever, doing a social thing, and you look at the clock like, it's, I don't know, 10 o'clock. Kind of probably should go home. Just another half an hour. That kind of comes up in this game. Die is a tabletop role-playing game about fantasy versus reality and poses the question of why we play games at all. Comic is occasionally jokingly described as goth Jumanji. I mean, you can tell from the hat that I'm at least an ex-rocker, right? So it doesn't look like it today. Die the RPG is designed from the ground up to let a group of players make their own personal version of the comic. So there is a quick start that's worth looking at, but very early on in the quick start, it says, if you're planning on doing this as a player, then don't read any further, because actually there's obviously spoilers, but also to be aware that kind of what you're doing in the role-playing game, it sounds like you're basically reliving some of what's in the original series of comics. I haven't read the comics, so I can't really comment. I haven't gotten all the way through that quick start stuff either, so I can't really comment. But I say quick start beta rules is probably a better way of putting it. So that's interesting. Postage. Blah. You play a group of authentically flawed people from the real world who gather together to play an RPG and are dragged into a fantasy realm. They have to find their way home or not. Begins on Earth, you create flawed, unique, real-world personas who gather together to play a role-playing game. See, so you create your players, then you create their characters, and basically, from what I can gather, you play as those characters being played by those players. Their obsessions of mind and externalized when on their involuntary adventure into the real world of Die. I didn't read that very well. These obsessions are mind and... it still doesn't quite flow for me. Flawed, unique, real-world personas who gather together to play a role-playing game. These obsessions are mind. I think it should be their obsessions of mind and external lives when on an involuntary adventure into the world of Die. They're not just going into a fantasy world, they're going to their fantasy world, twisting their shame and frustration back at them. What do you do when the dragon speaks to you in the voice of your angry, long-dead father? What happens when the orcs taunt you with the same insults as your childhood bullies? Now you're armed with a greatsword. Your beloved ex-partner returns to you in the form of an emotion-draining vampire. Will you resist them? So my takeaway from that is that basically when you're creating that first layer of character, your real-world personas, your GM is being fed these things which they can then throw back at you, which is cool. I mean, we try and do that anyway, but having a mechanical way of doing it and it not necessarily breaking the game, because I think when you're playing a campaign, well, maybe it's just me, but when I'm running a campaign, I kind of don't want to use those things up too quickly. You know, with this game, it looks like it's designed to have relatively short campaigns, so you can use these things up quite quickly. You can say, okay, well, you know, that ogre sounds like your mother-in-law, for example. You know, there are options, and that ammunition is not used up because it's fantasy, and these things can keep recycling without it being a massive dramatic draw. So yeah, you make your classic version of your iconic characters for the comic, each of whom is a weird riff on the classic RPG classes. So this is where if you haven't read the comic, you're a little bit of a disadvantage, like me. Dictators are artistic diplomats who manipulate the emotions with horrific magical words. The artwork, look at this, it's just beautiful. Fools, swashbucklers running into danger and relying on their supernatural luck to survive. Again, the artwork. Emotion knights are warriors who feed one sacred emotion into their arcane, sentient weapons to devastating effect. Neos, I mean, this is Neo from the Matrix, basically, are techno-magical rogues stealing elusive fair gold to power their cybernetic gifts. I mean, it's not literally Neo, but, you know, it's that kind of, it's a Matrix-y thing going on, right, in terms of sort of cyberpunk-esque. Godbinders are clerics who bargain with the pantheon of gods to get miracles at the best possible rate. I like the idea of that bartering. It was a bit salesy, a little bit, hey! And then the Masters. Reality-warping metatextual wizards who exert their control over space and time through the medium of dangerous magic, or if that fails, cheating. I love that. I love the idea that you can cheat. This is great, actually. So the system, let me just do this a bit. From what I gather from the system, right, it's a D6 dice pool. You need to throw as many dice as the thing that you're trying to do. You've got a skill or whatnot. And anything over a 4 is a success. And you need a number of successes in order to accomplish the task, right? So if you are doing something that's particularly challenging, then you might need multiple successes, 3 or 4 successes to do it. We like that, but you only need to roll above a 4 in order to succeed. What's really interesting is you also get, depending on your class, you get a die that represents your class. So actually, it says so on this page here. Only the Godbinder gets to touch the D12. The Neo gets a D10, so on and so forth. Now, I know from scrolling down, the Fool gets the D6. And one thing about the not the stretch goals, but the add-ons, the packages that you can get, pledge levels, is that they've got some beautiful, beautiful dice. And if you get the ridiculous expensive Uber set with the limited edition book and the limited edition dice set, they've got this lovely opalescent glass for everyone except for the Fool, who just gets a less exotic looking die. You'll see, we'll get to that. And Andy says, sounds like your own personal hell loop or therapy using dice. You're not wrong, you're not wrong. And Sanjuro says, the idea that you're playing someone who plays someone has been done before. You're right. I recall Hong Kong Action Theatre, where you create your actor and then you bid on roles in films and get more sats. I've not played that. But yeah, I mean, it's not a unique idea. We've seen a few things that are not entirely dissimilar, but playing a role-playing game within a role-playing game is kind of cool. It's just, yeah. I mean, another example is actually that the Worldwide Wrestling, is that what it's called? The RPG, it's powered by the Apocalypse, where you play a wrestler who's got an on-stage and an off-stage persona. I had great fun. One of our friends from Discord, and if you'd like to join our Discord and you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, the link is down there. You're welcome to join. One of our friends from Discord ran that for us as a private game, so we haven't got a stream for that. It was great fun, but it was quite hard to juggle that. You've got the heals and your whatever the thing isn't a heal, that I've completely forgotten. Someone will tell me in the chat, I'm sure, in the comments. And you've got to do your downtime, if you like, which is your scenes when you're not in the ring. Yeah, it's great fun. But anyway, let's get back to Die, because I got distracted. Sorry, everyone. Step-by-step process to build a group of difficult, flawed personas and nightmare world from which they must attempt to escape. Beautiful art from Stephanie Hansen. The layout is just stunning, because that's what Rowan, Rook, and Decard do, is goddamn beautiful books with amazing things in them. Rules and guidance on playing short punchy campaigns and long campaigns, designed from, this is what I was trying to say earlier, is that actually Kieron Gillen has done the game design. So rather than it being Grant Howard, etc., who make amazing games, if you've not played Spire or Heart, you really have to. I mean, they're quite powered by the Apocalypse, a little bit of Forged in the Dark. That's not a bad thing, actually. They just managed to get these things melded in such a way that it really works very well, and I've had so much fun playing Spire. But they have been working, I gather, with Kieron for 5 years to get this right. So from the beginning of basically them putting this comic book out, they've been working on a role-playing game to complement it. Meanwhile, there's I don't know, 9 million issues of Die. And there's a collected edition on hardback. It's about 50 quid. I think it looks amazing, and I'll probably pick it up at some point, but there's no hurry for that. Yeah, so it's Kieron that's made this, that's created the rules, and everyone else has just helped to get it right. Original rules system by Kieron, as I mentioned, designed for emotional stories and pulp action. Oh, yeah, as I said, play tested for 5 years. That's what I was saying earlier. Hey, look, I did my homework. And as I said, D6 dice pool, 4 or more, 6 or higher, because if you're rolling one of those special die for your class, then it could be a D12, D8 or whatnot. 6 or higher are specials, which in addition to being successes allow you to trigger unusual benefits. So special class specific pushes in some regard. As I said, here we go. There's a link on the page for the beta version of their game as well. So that is worth having a look at if you're going to run the game. If you're going to be a player and you just want this on your shelf, stay back. Stay back. Just trust that your GM is going to do an amazing job of this, and don't spoil it, because it's better to find these things out as a player, basically. Die manages to be a comic, game, a pun, a commentary, a metaphor, one of the most entertaining, provocative experiences I've had at the tabletop. Jim Rossignol, So You're Being Hunted, Ludicrous, and a couple of other testimonials here. And testimonials for the comic as well. So Matt Mercer likes it. So there you go. If you like 5e, buy this. If you don't like 5e, buy this, because it's not 5e. Just look at it. Stretch goals are doing really well. More art. Adrian Tchaikovsky, who is an amazing author. If you've not read any of his stuff, and you like sci-fi, it's really worth looking at that. Looking at his books. They're very, very good. Yep, so he's added talents to the bestiary section. 5 classic monsters. Then Grant and Kieron are creating a new scenario around a high school, terrible high school GM. That sounds amazing. An artist by a different piece of art by a different artist, Tula Lotte. I think for the most part, as I said, this has all been kind of done by Stephanie, although it's not Stephanie that's done the cover on the standard edition. We'll see that in a bit. Yeah, so some other art in there was great. More iconic monsters, more monsters, another illustration from another artist. Themed end papers by Rhiannon Hughes. Now, Rhiannon Hughes is the person who's done the cover, and he, I believe, is the artist on the original book, but we'll get to that. As I said, lots and lots of stuff going into this bestiary, look. And then more monsters for the bestiary. There we go. 30 briefings on the most important beasts in the game. At 250 grand, everyone actually gets paid a fair amount for the amount of work they're doing, because believe it or not, it's kind of hard to pay your bills as a role-playing game contributor in any sense. And a lot of people do it because they love what they do and not because they want to have a swimming pool in their garden. And then 300 grand, yeah. If they get there, they'll make something up. They've probably got it planned anyway, let's face it. 300 pages, US letter, hardcover book, so same sort of format that we're used to. They're always A4 or hardcover, except when they're not, like when they've got those little sort of journal-sized ones. It's a bit different. There you go. That's what it looks like. Stunning, right? And that's just going to be beautiful throughout. And then you've got the limited edition, the deluxe limited edition cover. Now, I've got the limited edition of Heart, as I said, and oh my god, it's so tactile. It's just, you pick it up and you don't want to open it because it feels like a really great book to hold. And I haven't broken a spine on it, oddly enough. I need to pick up the PDF. I bought it at Dragon Meat, so I can probably ask for that. I think they support that. I just haven't got around to it because I'm super disorganized. And I was supposed to be moving at Christmas, remember? Still hasn't happened. Then there's let's read what it says actually. Bound in book cloth, foil printed with embossing and debossing on the iconic triangles. That's what I love about the Heart book. It's all raised and pitted in line with the art, so it's embossed and debossed. And it's just so tactile, it's great. Also comes with a slipcover, but they don't have mock-ups of that. I imagine it would look kind of similar to the normal art, but we'll find out, I guess. GM screen comes with the front side designed by Stephanie Hans and the back side written by Kieron Gillen, and forms an excellent intimidating barrier between you and your hapless players. Speaking of you and your hapless players, I'd love to welcome to the stream.
I'm kind of a mess, Phil. Kind of a mess.
What's up, my friend?
What's going on? I went to go pick up my kid at the high school, and I saw a bunch of teenagers, students playing basketball. And of course, 45-year-old me.
You decided
I got to go show these kids how to, I got to go show these kids a thing or two.
Yeah, and we'll discuss in the after party if you're able to say how much of a sports athlete.
Oh my god, I am not at 45. Those kids just took me to task, and I tell you what, I am a mess right now.
Oh, hi, Doug.
Joel, thank you. How are you? Oh man, yeah, I am a sweaty mess. And then I hopped on. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to take a shower. I'm like, no, I got to jump on and see Phil.
Well, I wouldn't worry about it because from here, with this tiny little screen that I've got, because I've got all the other windows open to see you with, I kind of feel like you're blending into your wallpaper with your
Probably.
shirt.
Yeah, with my shirt. It's sharks. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, really? I can't see that from here, but I'm sure that everyone watching at home who's got a larger screen can. But you're like about this large on my screen right now.
Sure. Hey, Jason. Thank you so much. Oh, it looks like... you got the whole crew here today. Thanks.
Yeah, we've got some wonderful people in the chat today.
So I totally missed your sales pitch on Die, the role-playing game. I don't really see. I don't know the comic. I don't know.
I don't know the comic at all, but I trust Rowan, Rook, and Decard with.
Oh, absolutely, they make great stuff. I'm not saying that
amazing things. Did you know the concept? I can happily recap it to you in 30 seconds.
I kind of got it from the Kickstarter. It's almost like a real world kind of RPG, right? And
yeah. So you create your players, and then you create the characters that those players are playing in an RPG.
Right.
and then they go into that RPG, and then they do the RPG things. And because you've created those players quite carefully, you know what their real world hopes and dreams and fears and loves and hates are, and you
Okay.
as the GM within the GM, you get to pull those kind of first level hopes and fears into the second level RPG. So you give the I said earlier on, I think you could give the ogre the voice of your mother-in-law of one of the
Right. Right.
players,
I
or
get
that sort of
that. I
thing.
get that.
And then what's really interesting is if you want to stop playing that role-playing game within the role-playing game, everyone has to agree to go back to the mundane world. Otherwise, you're still kind of stuck there, which
You're
is
still
really cool.
stuck there. Okay.
It's
It
D6
kind
dice
of
pool.
gives me the whole you remember the Dungeons and Dragons
This is Dungeons and Dragons ride.
yeah, exactly. It kind of reminds me of that a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah. I think it's really cool. It's a D6 dice pool,
Okay, which I
and
like.
4 or more to succeed. Obviously, the number of successes are dictated by how difficult your challenge is.
Right,
And
right.
if you hit a 6 or higher, then you trigger a special move or the ability to use one of your specials. And it's a little bit like the I can't think what they're called, but in Forged in the Dark, and you have those extra things that you can do that are in your playbook that are
Okay,
unique to
different
your
moves
class.
and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's that sort of thing.
Okay.
That you can only do them when you hit 6 or above. And there are other things you can do that are unique to your class. And the way you do those is if you want to trigger one of those abilities, then you have to add effectively your character die to the pool. And that is unique to your class. So it'll be a D6, a D8, D10, D12. I think it might be a D4 as well. And you add that to your pool, and then by that virtue, that could go way higher than a 6. That could be like a D12, or you
Okay.
could hit 12 or something.
Hmm.
So that's kind of the mechanics. They've been playtesting it for 5 years.
Okay, that's neat.
So it's probably okay. Probably quite good to play, and yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, I totally so I think I have the PDFs of Spire and Heart.
Yeah.
I really want a physical book of Heart at some point.
I picked up the limited edition.
Yeah,
It's so
at
gorgeous.
this point, I don't really mind if it's not a limited edition. I know
No,
I know you can still get those every once in a while, but
Yeah.
I just want a physical edition of Heart. That's on my to buy list.
Well-
It's kind of near the top of that.
Well, we're heading out to Expo in a couple of weeks, so I'll keep my eyes peeled for you. If I remember, I'll pick it up.
Yeah, but then you gotta ship it over to me, and it's gonna cost you an arm and a leg.
Yeah. Bob will be over at some point. We'll send it back with him.
Well, maybe. Okay, all right. Yeah, let me know if they've got any.
More expensive for me to go and see Bob than it would be to ship the book.
Yeah,
But
probably.
we'll work
Yeah,
it
you
out.
probably it would
You're
probably be
sending
cheaper
ship
for you to
rates to
come
me.
over.
So
Sure.
it's only fair that we return the love. I'll keep my eyes peeled. If I remember,
Okay. Yeah.
I'll
if
pick
you
it
see
up.
one,
That's
I
not a
would
problem.
I would love to have one.
Yeah. So, and this game, let's just nip back. We will do an after party. It's probably going to be a little late. I'll tell you all that now. So that's the deluxe book, which is gorgeous, and that's all embossed and debossed. And then the gem screen, they're getting this all printed in. I want to say Latvia, might be Estonia.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much.
Which is the best place to go these days for high quality books. And then you've got the dice.
Yeah, the dice are from what, Level Up? Is that what the
Level Up
dice are
dice.
from?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
and
you can
they
only
do
get
really
these-
great.
Yeah, you can only get these with the top tier pledge of £250. So that's like $260 at the moment because the pound is shockingly poor against the dollar.
So cool! Just a cool little fun fact about Level Up Dice. I got to meet the folks at Gamma Expo, and they don't give out business cards. They give out D6s with their information on them.
Hang on, let me make you bigger.
So, like literally, it's a six-sided dice that a six-sided die that you can use. But each side has like their website, has their slogan, has a little, their little Level Up icon. It's got I won't put the guy's name up here, and their title and their email addresses on one side, and their social media is on another. Like this, and they're metal dice. I mean, this is what they give away when somebody's like, "Hey, let me give you my card." They give you one of these instead.
You can never have too many dice.
Right?
except when you can.
I thought it was super clever. I love it.
That is really cool. Yeah, so these dice, these are, I think these are glass, these ones.
Yep.
And they're part of the most expensive, the top tier. They're really beautiful. And then if you don't want to go all out and spend 250 Earth pounds on the deluxe super, amazing version, you can get their standard dice, which are still gorgeous,
Mm-hmm.
and they're also level up. So with the level up ones, though, these are all prismatic glass. The D20 is obsidian,
Nice.
and then that horrible D6 there is intended for the person who plays the fool, because of course each of these dice is given to a different class, which I think is really cool. And then you get a swanky level up box to go with it. And then there's a little bit of information about who they are.
Have they given any shipping estimates?
They have, I think. I mean, they'll obviously change. I'm pretty sure I saw something.
Yeah, we've talked about Kickstarters and what we should expect at this point. I'd be curious to know if they are, because I'll tell you what, right now, the way the world is, any kind of shipping, estimate that you've got now is not going to be the same even like a month from now, 2 months from now. So that's kind of why I was asking. I was wondering if they had.
Yeah, no, they haven't. The next project, they have given some shipping estimates, which is really interesting. But these guys haven't. Very quickly, let's have a look at those pledge levels. I'm aware that we need to move on to the next project.
Sorry, I keep derailing.
You're excited because you haven't been here for years.
I know, it's been a while.
It's been a while, and everyone's saying hi, Doug. Let's just catch up as well very quickly and see what else I've missed in the comments. This game's kind of like my D&D wizard wanting to play accountants in cubicles. That's from Andy. Jason says hi. In the first Mutant, there was a table. This is before Mutant Year Zero, but that world, there was a table of random items from the before time. One of them was Draco. I know of one group where the OC started playing a fantasy RPG.
The PCs, yeah. PCs started playing a fantasy RPG. Yeah, no, that's cool.
I really want to get Draco to the show at some point. It's just a matter of not speaking Swedish.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't speak Swedish, so.
No. So let's have a quick look at these pledge levels. 20 quid, about $22, $23 at the moment, because, as I said, everything's weird.
Is that what it is in US pounds right now? Or is it in US dollars?
That would be my guess. What was it? 20 GBP to USD is $24.96.
Yeah.
It's going up and down at the moment all the time. The book Resin Dice and GM Screens, that's your standard hardcover, which looks like that. There is £65, $75 or so. The deluxe edition, and I'll tell you right now, this is the edition that I would get, is £80. And the reason why I'd get it is because there's something about the effort that they go to with their deluxe editions, Rowan, Rook and Decard, which is just... I can't even quantify it. Then the deluxe book with the resin dice and the GM screen. So I'm not sure, personally, I'm not sure if I would get that edition. And that's not because I think there's anything wrong with it, actually. It's just, I think I've got probably... I know I said there's no such thing as too many dice. I might have too many dice at this point. Maybe. But
I don't even know who you are anymore, Phil. I've been gone so long, and now I'm coming back, and you've said I think I've got too many dice.
And I'm wearing a pale shirt.
I want to know what happened to my friend Phil, and what did you do with him?
Most of him is in storage, waiting to move house. And he says, "But do you have too many die?" Then there's what we would traditionally call the Phil level, Grandmaster Ultimate Pledge, which is the deluxe edition, PDF, those amazing obsidian and glass dice, GM screen and art cards. And 2 years ago, that's probably what I would have jumped on, to be perfectly honest with you. It's very much worth it if you're a collector. I don't think there's any...
I'm surprised they have so many of those pledge levels left.
Oh, they only just added a bunch more. That's why.
Oh, they did?
They ran out, and then they've added a bunch more.
Gotcha.
Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Dice level. So that was Die RPG in a nutshell. I really like it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I have deep-seated trust in everything that company puts out.
Absolutely, they do phenomenal work. They do phenomenal games.
And they don't put many out as well. Is the other thing.
Right.
They
Usually,
really
they're very focused. They stick to one product line, and that's good in a way, but it's also bad in a way because I feel like you don't have as quick a follow up for a lot of the games that you put out,
true.
which is fine. I mean, that's just people are. I mean, that's the way that businesses grow and so on. And as long as you're putting out well made products, I think that's the most important thing. Huge fan of Grant and the team over there at Rowan, Rook, and Ricard. What I forget what it's called. What is it?
Rowan, Rook, and
Rook and
Decard. I
Decard.
always want to call them Rook, Rowan, and Decard, which is really annoying. And when I write it, I always want to put the K in Decard, like Blade Runner, obviously. So I always get it completely wrong.
They're one of the teams that I would love to, if I go to UK Games Expo or to Dragonmeet or anything, that would be one of the teams that I would really make an effort to go over and see.
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to talking to them. Hey, if all goes to plan, then maybe I can get a couple of minutes with them for the show. But we'll see what happens. UK Games Expo is always a bit manic. They're really nice people. The products they make are gorgeous. Talk to them at Games Expo if you can, because if you've got questions, I mean, if you're just walking past and you've got nothing to say to them, then
well, you can say that you like their games. You can say, I mean, I'm going to tell anybody that goes to any of these conventions, if there's a publisher or designer there that you're a fan of their games, let them know.
Yeah,
like, just go because guess what? These people, this is what their passion is, and that will make their day. If you come up and be like, oh man, I played this game and I loved it. Like even if you don't buy anything, granted, if you can buy something, even if it's a small something, if you've already got the core rule book
or something,
just go up and say thank you or tell them how much you appreciate their games, because that goes a long way.
I think most content creators, as cocky as we might seem, most content creators, be us, authors or vloggers or whatever, we're always our own
game designers.
Game designers, etc. We're all we can see is the flaws in the work we do.
Yep.
So when someone else turns around and says, "Hey, I really like what you do," it makes such a huge difference.
It really does.
It really, really does. Check that product out. It's going for another 3 weeks, 20 days to go. So just under 3 weeks.
And I probably will back it at the PDF level at some point.
PDF will sound, or alternatively that deluxe edition once we can. Because we should.
It's hard for me to put down $100 on an RPG at this point in my life.
It's not exactly the most fluid time.
I really have to enjoy an RPG in order to put down $100, and because I love backing and getting the limited edition, like this campaign we're just going to talk about just now. Like I went full on, I wasn't sure how I was going to like this, but man, I'm in love with this campaign.
So we're going to have a look at the trailer for the next one. It's a couple of minutes, but let's set the scene. So I did this a little bit in the preamble, but I'm going to be boring and repeat myself. Two little mice from crazy Italian designers made a couple of games in Italian. They brought Broken Compass over in English, and we actually talked about that on the Friday fill-in over on which channel, Doug? Where can people normally find you?
Victory Condition Gaming. That's usually where people can find me.
So we used to have a Friday show over there.
We did.
World kind of went weird for a while. So we
I kind of nudged Phil into hey, maybe you should be doing this Friday Friday show on your own.
Friday fill out.
maybe you should spread your wings a little bit and do the content creating thing.
There was a point in time where we were calling this the dugout rather than the fill-in.
I don't like that. I still think it should be called the fill-in. You got to sell it. You got to make it your brand, man. You got to make it your brand.
We can still do that. There's still plenty of time. Broken Compass we talked about, and I really liked it and didn't back it. Then they did a second edition, and I had that. Did you back it then? You didn't? Do you wish you had? Yeah, I backed it second time round. I've only managed to play it once. I've only played the quick start scenario. It's really hard to run.
Is it?
Only because I am not accustomed to the whole idea that no matter how the dice fall, your players are always going to do something awesome. And the whole point of Broken Compass is that you don't have hit points. You've got luck points. So if you try and jump a ravine and you fail your die roll and you've got luck points left, you might lose all your luck points. But my God, you do a spectacular jump, and you're because you lost so many luck points in the process, you were really lucky. So that was a spectacular jump. Maybe you slipped down and you grabbed hold of a vine. That vine then ripped down. Then you can keep going.
Grabbed a
Whatever.
hold of the rock ledge and hoisted
Yeah.
yourself up with one hand, and
And then the rocks all fall.
right.
And you can keep going. But for me, I'm not used to exercising those muscles. I'm much
What
more
muscles are you used to exercising, Phil?
I mean,
Or is this not the
that
show
one.
to talk about that?
The Friday Fill Out is a takeaway review show. Takeout review show. Sure, why not? We could do that. We'll talk about that in the after party. I'm just not used to always. I mean, it's hard for me to explain. I always want the players to succeed, but I'm always used to the idea of, hey, if it goes badly wrong, you have to describe something bad, but not so bad that it screws the players up. And in this, you kind of almost want to do the worse the roll, the more awesome their success, But obviously, the next time they fail a roll, then it could be, death. So that's a Broken Compass, anyway. And of course, what we're looking at now is the other game that they had huge success in Italian. They won awards in 2019 for it, and you could describe it as, I don't know if you have the Borrowers out in the US.
We do. We had actually this gave me some nostalgia feel for a cartoon show from the early 80s, and I don't even know if you are aware of the show or if you were around for the show in the 80s.
I was around in the 80s, so.
Were the early 80s, like 82, 83?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was born in 80.
So we had a show called The Littles.
Which, no, I didn't see that.
And that's what this campaign reminds me of.
And I think they actually call them something like that, don't they?
Yeah, I gotta bow out for a second.
No worries. We're going to play the trailer. So let's have a look. Let me know if you can hear that. The master never returned. That's just so cool.
Yeah,
How's the history of English translations? Says
I mean,
Will.
Broken
Not
Compass
bad.
is in English.
Yeah, it is. It's okay. There are times when I'm just going to refresh so we get that image back. There are times when it's a little bit dicey.
When you can
Not
tell it's not their
bad.
native.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like sentences that don't necessarily flow
Well,
perfectly, but it doesn't break reading the book.
here's the other thing. This is a come on or cool mini or not or CMON. I don't know whatever they want to call themselves. I don't know what they're calling themselves
Yeah,
these days
but
because they've changed their name like
acquired Two Little
3,000
Press,
times.
haven't
But they're not. They'll make sure. I mean, it's Francesco Nepatello who is the head
Yeah.
of CMON's RPG, and we all know who Francesco is. Francesco is the guy that designed the One Ring RPG, and he's not gonna. And that's another reason why I've backed this product so hard, just because
He'll make
it's
sure that it's
Francesco.
right.
It's good. I actually really enjoy Zombicide Chronicles, the first RPG that they put
really?
out. I like it. It's kind of zany.
I mean, that kind of predates 2LM though, doesn't it?
What's that? It does. It
that
does.
predates Two Little Mice,
And,
but
and I think this is going to be a more premium product because
Yes.
I don't think that the Zombicide Chronicles RPG was like a superior. You know, I don't think it's like the best RPG ever of all time. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's a decent zombie themed RPG, and it's zany and fun.
Yeah.
This looks really cool. I like the D6 dice pool system where you're basically trying to match pairs, and the more pairs that you match or the more triples that you match, the better your results. I like that. I think that's a cool, neat new way to kind of do the D6 dice pool system.
Yeah, it's really fun.
It kind of gives me a little bit of Powered by the Apocalypse feels.
Yes. Yeah.
I love the setting. I love how each like kind of species of these, I forget what they're called.
They're like fairies and stuff.
Yeah, they've got fairies,
little folks,
yeah,
not little people.
All these species of little folks have like their own domain. So one of them is in charge. One of them has the basement as their homeland. One of them has the attic. One of them has the bedroom. One of them has the living room, so that they have to like be in charge. Like the hearth is like their capital. Like I love that. I think that's super cool. I think that's a
so to put that into perspective, it's the idea. It's almost like you're all in this one mansion, right?
Yeah, you're basically in an abandoned house.
Yeah.
The little folk, like they idolize the previous owner. The owner left, and so that's kind of like they're guarding the house and taking care of the house before the master's return. We don't know if that's going to happen or not. I just think I think it's a cool concept. I love it. I'm all in it. The art looks amazing. I love the art in this game.
The art that they do is always gorgeous. And yeah, as you said, so you've got the fairies who have the dining hall.
Yep.
The boggarts who have the living room.
Yep.
The horde in the basement.
Yep.
The
sloth.
Sprites who have
basically they have the upstairs. Yeah. I love that. And I love each species has like this thing that they do. Like the fairies, I can't remember. There's one, I think it's the fairies. They can't, if they sign their name, like they have to do something. Like if they put their name on something, then that's like they either have to do that or bad things are going to happen. The other one of them says that if they give them their word, like that is set in stone. Otherwise, it's so I love that aspect of this setting too. That like, hey, you know what, I'll like say you want to make a treaty with somebody or you want to collaborate with another species. Okay, let's put it in writing, and they sign their name. You know that's going to be what they have to stick to.
Doesn't mean that you can't break it, but there will be consequences.
Exactly. Exactly.
And you find those sorts of tropes throughout. I mean, that sort of thing is, for example, very evident in books like the Dresden Files, where you have these bonds as well, and everyone has to be a little bit tricksy to try and like find the small print so that you can get out of stuff, or give the illusion that you're making a bond when really you're not, which is really cool. The dice are intriguing. So in Broken Compass, you have north, south, east, and west on the dice. In this, you have the 4 suits and a joker.
Right.
And the whole system, as Doug alluded then, is that you want to do matching pairs or triplets, or
Right.
basically you want to match number of dice. So it's not about trying to roll as many sixes. You could roll 4 sixes,
Right.
or you could roll 4 fours, or 2 twos and 3 ones. And your challenge, depending on how similar this is to Broken Compass, basically your challenge is normally going to be you need to match a certain number of dice. And there are reroll mechanics. What's really interesting is that sometimes you might have combined challenges where you're actually, this was actually quite hard to GM for me, where you might need to actually somehow combine the challenges. So you might actually have two basic challenges, which is 2 lots of 2 pairs. Right, basically. So 2 lots of 1 pair. So your die roll, you might actually be trying to get 2 sets of 2 or 2 sets of 3. And that's when it gets complicated, because normally you would think that you would just run those challenges independently. No, you'll have to throw one single hand down and hope for the best. So it is a literal crapshoot at times.
Now, did Broken Compass have? Sorry, I don't mean. But
no, it's fine.
Did Broken Compass have like a wild side on it on the D6? Because that's what the Joker said. The Joker
I don't
on these die.
Here.
The Joker on this symbol is basically a wild symbol that will match any of the other suits, which I thought was really great. And then there's a blank side that doesn't match any of them.
So
you also see he just backed it. I'm really intrigued by this game. I love this. I love the fact that they do this like really premium slipcase.
We're getting
north, south,
and then
east.
You've got east and west. These are the ugly first edition dice. They're really horrible. And then you have a compass on one side.
That
and a skull on the other.
0 on the other. So I'm guessing
they
the
don't have
compass
any mechanical impact.
Yeah, I'm guessing that it's probably similar.
I don't think there's any impact. I think it's just matching. It doesn't really matter what they are, if memory serves, unless they expanded it in the main rules, because I only got as far as reading the quick start. I've got all the books, but they're in storage. So maybe in the main rules they've expanded on that.
Maybe.
Yeah, as you said, damn you! I might have to open my wallet for this. I know, right? Let's actually go back and look at this.
Yeah. They've got a really nice limited edition. Like that, and that's where I backed it, just because I love the art. This is going to be one of those games that I'm going to enjoy reading as much as I am playing. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
And they got the quick start, which you can download, which I downloaded. It's 96 pages, people. 92 pages. But there's a lot to it.
That's not very quick though. In fact, I'm going to. That didn't work. I tried to download it. It just downloaded as an HTML. So let me have that download elsewhere. Oh, because it throws you at the CMON page. Okay, artwork, rewards. So this is what we're talking about. These I would expect. Oh, they're letter format. I was going to say I'd expect these to be small, because the Broken Compass books are the same size as the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition books.
No, these are big.
These are big.
Yeah,
and they're doing a hell of a lot for your money.
Right. And what they want to do is if this is successful, which it looks like it's going to be, vastly, really, really successful for them. They want to do 5 volumes, and like it's basically volume 2 is going to be another year in this. Basically, it's going to do a 5-year like stretch of time that this setting takes place in.
Well, Mr. Shoot, tell me about your 5-year plan.
Right, and that's basically what they're they want to make sure that they're going to have success with this volume 1.
Yeah.
Which is the hardcover, 300 plus pages, how to play the game. So beautiful.
Yeah. You got volume 1, 300 pages, full color. Volume 2, 200 plus pages, full color, letter format. Yeah. Practical guide, 200 pages. The narrator screen, the map. I kind of like that it's set in a specific location as well.
I do too.
That it's a little bit different, or for a product like this to be confined to such a small area, although that area is quite large because you're physically smaller, is really nice. Constrains it a little bit, which makes it a little easier on the GM as well.
They do talk a little bit about going outside the house. In fact, one of the, I think the slaw or whatever, they're actually from the outside. I think from the far away or whatever they call it, and they're like the last species to actually like come into the house.
Yeah,
and they talk about like being outside the house, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, those dice, which are great, and obviously if you're getting the Dark Orb Full Edition, then you'll have those to play with, and there are miniatures that come with
exclusive just to the Kickstarter
exclusively. Yeah. And there's this, which is just gorgeous. And it's only a slipcase with a fancy thing on it, but
I hope that's super, super nice because, man, if that's a really nice slipcover that just, God damn it. That's kind of what sold me, to be honest with you. I'm like, oh, man, these books look gorgeous. And then I saw that. I'm like, yeah, I got to have that.
Yeah.
I got to put all these really gorgeous books into a slipcover.
Yeah, if they're anything like the quality of the Broken Compass books, they'll be great. They really will. And the pledge levels. So here we go. $30 for your PDFs. I think that's a very reasonable price.
I mean, when you think about it,
PDFs are getting more expensive.
600 pages or something like that? 700 pages?
7 minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7
for
minimum.
$30, that's a steal.
Yeah. And digital goals. The $60 gets you the first book in print, everything else in PDF, but you do get a set of dice. So a bunch of digital stuff, the dice, and effectively the core book with the core setting and everything. Then there's the Mouse Rider, which is the Dark Orb approved, will spend your money for you level.
Which actually, it's, I mean, for 100, I mean, again, I don't know if they've done shipping quotes, but I anticipate it to be probably $40 on top of it.
Yeah.
For $190.
I'm sure there's a table lower down. So.
Yeah. You get 3 really nice books in a hard case, map, GM screen, minis, dice, PDFs. It seems like a pretty decent value.
And we'll get to those stretch goals. They've actually done really well. So this is the level that I have backed at currently. That might change purely based on economics. But this is the level that I would suggest going for if you're a completionist at all. I think the value for money is astonishing compared to what you're going to get. And the product will be just gorgeous. Stretch goals. New Household Mystery. Good. Character sheets. Good. Dice pouch.
Yeah, all right.
Dice pouch. What I do, I'm just going to say something about that for a second. I actually do really like dice pouches when you've got custom dice. Like, for example, when I got Broken Compass, there were a few things missing. So one of those things was not a dice pouch, but the contents of a dice pouch. So that as part of the pledge, it's supposed to be 2 sets of dice that were the new dice, and then 2 sets of dice that were the old dice, and some free coins. And I didn't get those coins or the dice pouch contents. So they just sent me. It turns out that was one SKU was like these old coins and 2 sets of dice. So so they just sent me a pouch, and I know that if I pick this pouch up, it has got coins in it and dice in it specifically for Broken Compass.
Yeah,
and I'm all right with that because I do like theming things, and these coins are really fun. I don't know if they'll come up on the camera, but we can give it a go.
In this game, instead of coins, they're actually using cards.
So
you're gonna have you'll see one of the stretch goals was added cards for gameplay. So basically, it's a set of I think 21 cards, and they're aces with different and some jokers for player aids and just to kind of help keep track of some stuff.
Yeah, because the Broken Compass, when you run out of luck points, then you have a lucky coin, and if you toss that lucky coin to see if you succeed or fail at a task. If you get tails, I think you pass. Oh, I can't remember now. It's been a while. Anyway, if you pass, you get to keep the coin. If you fail, you lose the coin.
Gotcha.
Which is really nice.
And can I just say one more thing about this D6 system? I like how they've made it kind of proprietary dice, but not really. They made it so that you can play it with ordinary D6 super easy.
Yeah,
that is a huge plus in my book.
Yeah, and then it just becomes, well, if you roll a 1, you can't match it with anything, and if you roll a 6, then that's considered a wild die, effectively,
Right.
a wild side.
Exactly.
Walk on the wild side. What else do we get? Kitchen's been added. The Aces deck that Doug was just talking about. Another miniature. A new household mystery.
Yep.
The map, or a map, an additional map, city map, indeed. Which is interesting. So you do get to explore the city, which I hadn't realised. Shows that I did more homework on the other game.
Well, so Tuber Dam is actually the tub in the bathroom.
Oh my god! I hadn't realised that.
Yep. So like, there's like, I forget what the kingdom of I think it's like. There's a whole kingdom that's basically in Matrasdom or something like that, and it's basically their city that's on like part of the bed. So yeah, you're gonna see like wordplay in all like the cities that this setting has taken.
That's really fun.
Yeah,
that's really, really fun, and it gives you a sense of scale as well, which maybe I'd overlooked. Where did we get to? Scully. Tuber Dam, that's unlocked. Character move deck, mini cards with profession moves. Another miniature, another vocation, character sheets, animal move deck, another map, and city map, Astravia.
I forget what that is. But that's something in the house too. I forget what it was.
Yeah, House of Cards, another miniature.
No, yeah, the House of Cards. Yeah, as a guide.
Another miniature, and the Spider Convent, new household mystery added to the guide.
Mm-hmm.
We'll hit that, and then
it's gonna do really, really well.
12 days to go. I think it's really lovely, and the guys and girls at Two Little Mice Press, 2LM Press, do amazing things. So, that's not right. There we go.
I'm excited for them. I hope that this is like, like I said, Zombicide Chronicles I thought was a good step in the right direction for the whole CMON RPG arm, and now to get this in here, I think this is going to be a big hit for them. Hopefully.
Completely agree with you. I think this is a very, very expensive month for role-playing games. We've got these. We've got Blade Runner. Gosh, what was the other thing? Or something else that is fleecing my wallet in the role-playing space right now?
Blade Runner?
We said Blade Runner already.
You said Blade Runner? What else was it? What else? Oh, the one by the Gauntlet podcast.
Yeah. Brindlewood Bay, of course. Yeah. They're all great. They really are.
I'm just excited to see, like, because if this is any indication of what 2023 is going to be for RPGs, like,
can I buy a new bookcase?
Bring it on. Well, I guess Blade Runner is supposed to be out before the end of the year, but even still, like last year, I hate to sound like negative, but last year was not a great year for RPGs. Like there was
kind of
very few RPGs that like I wanted to make a top 10 list because that's usually what I do on the show.
Yeah.
I just couldn't even get a top 5 to be honest with you.
It felt like last year was a holding pattern, like a maintenance year. Almost.
Yeah. So this year we're just hitting, like we've got some really great stuff, and now next year is going to be even greater. Like I'm excited for this industry. Come on, bring it on.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I think we should probably wrap there. That was there's some amazing things happening. I don't have a clue what we're going to talk about next week because there's loads of cool stuff. So we'll have that conversation in Discord. If you haven't joined our Discord, the link is down below. And it's open to everyone. And we do like to get together and discuss what's cool and make a short list and bring those to the show. So in the meantime, Doug, where can people find you? Where can people find? People
can usually when I'm not trying to best teenagers in basketball at the local high school.
Oh, it's basketball. I missed that.
Yeah, it's basketball. You can find me on YouTube at Victory Condition Gaming or Twitch. Feel free. You can also like our Facebook page. You can also follow me on Twitter at Doug VC Gaming, and we've got an audio podcast too, so feel free to subscribe there as well for iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, all those Spotify. Do it. Just
do it.
Just do it. Appreciate
it.
you. Anything. Thank you for having me on. Sorry, I'm kind of not quite as a mess as I was when I first started.
Might we see you at the after party for a little while?
Maybe for a few minutes. Yeah, I got to mow my lawn, and it's kind of hot, and I'm not looking forward to it.
It's not too bad. So if you're watching live, we are heading over to Twitch. Ignore the time on this banner because I think we'll probably be on. In fact, let me just do this. 9:12 at 9:12, we're going to be over on Twitch, Twitch TV /The Dark Orb UK. We're just going to freshen up for a couple minutes, and we'll be right back. Maybe 3 minutes for Doug, and maybe we'll see some of the patrons as well. So we do have a Patreon. Link for that is below, and patrons sometimes join us for the after party. So we'll see you over there very shortly. In the meantime, thank you for joining. I hope your dice rolls are way better than mine. Thank you, Doug. Catch you later.
Thanks for having me.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.